Hello, 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 hello. How are you today? And thank you for tuning in. Today we'll be talking about Nigeria's De-radicalization Project. More or less, I was actually beaming some information and I don't know what happened, but it seems as if there was no connection because I was actually sharing some videos that I wanted us to actually look at before actually getting into the discussion. So, what are we talking about today? We are actually talking about Operation Safe Corridor. What is Operation Safe Corridor? Operation Safe Corridor is Nigeria's de-radicalization project, which is used to try and reform members of Boko Haram that actually live, that have left their fold because they say they left that group and want to, become ordinary or normal Nigerian citizens. So that is what Operation Safe Corridor is there for. But Operation Safe Corridor is without its own criticisms and controversies. And those are the issues that we'll be talking about today. So, but before we go into what Operation Safe Corridor is, I felt it's important that we break down exactly what de-radicalization is. Because there's a lot of people out there that are talking about de-radicalization that actually have very little understanding of it, or they've read about it. But reading about it and knowing about it, actually being involved in it, is completely two different kettle, of fish, actually. So for that reason, I think it's important to explain it. I got involved in de-radicalization because I used to work for Her Majesty government in the United Kingdom. I'm proud to getting involved in the de-radicalization project. I worked in many sections within civil service. So I worked in criminal justice informed. I worked in what they call office for criminal justice informed, formerly criminal justice system and CGS. Then I moved from there into what they call Border and Security Immigration Agency, BIA. Then it was changed, and then it became UKBA, which is UK, United Kingdom Border Agency, UKBA. And while I was there, I started having a bit of understanding about enforcement and security issues because because of the nature of the work I was doing as an assistant director responsible for the community cohesion team, I actually have to get involved in operation activities, not actually picking people up, but actually get briefed about it and more or less know about some of the activities that are being carried out when I'm called into it. And one of such very big activities was the Chinatown raid, where we went after illegal workers, and I was actually live involved in a live and direct where the whole place went, bizarre, and media around the world picked it up, and we have to go back and address it. But that's not the reason why you're here today. You want actually to listen to the issue of de-radicalization. So I left that and I went on secondment to Metropolitan Police, working with the Olympic Security Directorate, responsible for the London Olympic cross-border crime issues. That was the project I actually worked on, and a variety of other projects, which was quite good for a year. And then we returned back to the Home Office, and then I got level transferred into the Office for Security and Counterterrorism. Now, the Office for Security and Counterterrorism was established following, came about more or less because of the London, the underground uh, bomb blast, that happened, and a lot of things that happened on the surface also with the coordinated attack, which is called 7/7. And as a result, the Office for Security and Counterterrorism was given the mandate to create what was called the contest strategy. Now, the contest strategy has 4 P's, and of course, I'll be talking about those 4 P's later. But the one I want to concentrate on is the prevent aspect of it, because there is the pursue aspect, there is the protect, you know. So there are 4 P's. So those 4 P's, I actually started working in the prevent aspect, and that prevent aspect of it deals with the de-radicalization project. And what happens without going into too much security detail is that we provide the resources for uh, the prevent intervention managers, or the prevent intervention individuals. These are individuals who are skilled in the field of de-radicalization, i.e., they know their onions. They've either been an ex-jihadist, or individuals that study psychology, or that understand the process of de-radicalization. And what they do is that they use their skill sets to help individuals identified as vulnerable individuals. Now, mark that word, vulnerable individuals. So they work with individuals that are vulnerable individuals and help them to bring them back to normalcy. Now, the way they go about doing that is that those individuals are assigned to them through what is called the channel process. Now, channel uh, is a kind of a panel that exists in every local authority, more or less. When individuals are identified as vulnerable to radicalization, the channel panel will sit to discuss it. So you have the police there, you have social worker there, social services. You have all kind of individuals there who are experts, and then they look at the particular situation. And when they look at that particular situation, they determine what kind of de-radicalization package that individual requires. And I'm going to talk more about this because this is the key to understanding exactly what Nigeria is doing and whether it is fit for purpose. Literally, you know, that is the reason. And thank you very much. Please keep on liking and sharing it with others, and let them know that we're actually talking about this. Now, the what normally happens is that you need to understand that the drivers of radicalization or violence extremism is quite a lot. So one there's no one route to becoming radicalized. So people could be radicalized because they've got challenges at home. People could be radicalized because they've got criminal record, and the only people helping them, or taking them on as family are people that want to radicalize them. And what we notice is that across Europe, majority, you could say about at least maybe 50-60% of individuals who actually go go on to commit this atrocity or carry out a terrorist attack are actually individuals with some sort of low-level criminal record. And that is because of the kind of system where once you have a criminal record, it becomes very difficult to be able to get a meaningful job, or to be able to get something that you could actually hold on to. More or less, you are being pushed gradually, and that's part of the debate that is going on now. Now, how do you help people who are in this kind of environment to be able to get them out, to be able to get them into a good job, or something that could steer them away from individuals who wants to recruit and radicalize them. So the channel the channel panel will look at the case. When they look at the case, they would talk about the safeguarding issues, if it's just safeguarding issues. They look at it as a case that is reasonable to be addressed in that issue. We need to understand that it's not all cases that could be addressed in channels. There are certain cases that will be beyond channel where it needs to be taken care of by the police. And if that is the case, then that is exactly what will happen, because you will see that they would more or less move that case and pass it on. You know, they will pass it on to the appropriate security agencies to deal with, and that is actually what they do. But in doing that, it's important also to highlight that, like I've mentioned earlier, when individuals are being de-radicalized, because there are different drivers, there are different reasons why they're being de-radicalized. So it's not just about the religious aspect alone, as we noticed from Indonesia, where they had challenges of security, of counter security challenges with extremism. And what they did was that they concentrated in their own situation, they concentrated on providing educational and financial assistance. Because sometimes what these individuals need is just opportunity to be able to take care of themselves, take care of their family, and not to be receptive to the whatever these people are bringing to them, in terms of what they should, why they should be part of them and things like that. So those are the reasons. Now, let's now go back to the Nigerian Operation Safe Corridor project. Because remember, I've worked in this field for many years, even before Nigeria even start thinking of coming up with what they call de-radicalization. Even before they know the word de-radicalization, I've actually worked there. So I can tell you now that the kind of de-radicalization project that Nigeria is running is actually not fit for purpose. I'll use that word. I'm not saying that if 10 people, 100 people go through it, all the 100 will return back to Boko Haram. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the structure itself is wrong, because I've had let me talk about some of the argument that they put forward. Some people have put the argument forward that there should not have been this de-radicalization project without the end to war. I disagree with that. And I'll explain why I disagree with that, because really the UK is not at war. Yeah, we're at war with Al-Qaeda because they were coming in, but there was no signed agreement, which is part of the DDR requirement. There was no DDR signed agreement for peace or negotiation. But the UK government decided to introduce a de-radicalization project which helps them to identify individuals that are vulnerable using certain parameters. And once you fit into those parameters, you'll be provided the support you need. I'll give you a classic example. If a child goes to a school today and they start talking about terrorism and he says, "Oh, I really, really love Al-Qaeda, and I wish one day I can become an Al-Qaeda operative and blow up people." Now, that child has not done anything yet, but it might be that that child is being exposed to terrorist material. It might be that there is somebody within that child's cycle that is more or less trying to recruit that child. So what you do is not to throw the keys at that child and more or less take that child to the police station and give that child a criminal record. The de-radicalization project is a perfect fit for such an individual, where the kind of what are the things that led to that child being in that situation. Those things will be dealt with by the safeguarding individuals, social workers, and things. And if there is a misinterpretation of religion, which is just one aspect of it. Then you get an individual that is vast in that religion and in the concept of de-radicalization to more or less address it. I'll give you a class example. We all know that one of the verses that the Al Qaeda, ISIS, and the others use for what they do is that they say, "Oh, when we are with our enemies, we smile to their face. Where in our heart we curse them until we get to paradise as Jannah." So in other words, when they are in a situation where they don't have strength, they don't have power, they can pretend. It is allowed according to their own doctrine. Now, it is allowed for them to pretend that they are being de-radicalized, but yet, deep inside their hearts, they are not changing a bit, and they're only looking for an excuse to actually be able to carry out what they want to do. And we've noticed this in the UK, where people that have gone into prison and have gone through the de-radicalization project are actually coming out and committing atrocity, even to the extent now that there is now that debate that if the de-radicalization project is fit for purpose. But we're talking of de-radicalization project in the prison, not because those are people that have been convicted. Now, the problem I have with Nigerian Operation Safe Corridor is that a lot of people have gone through that project, right? For the little that we know, the little information we know about our project, hundreds of people have gone through it. It takes about roughly 11 months. At one point, they even said they took care of about 115, and even we saw other pictures of people dressed in green, white, green, and swearing, swearing to the Bible or Quran, and more or less saying that they are being trained in poetry and things like that, which I have no problem with. But the bottom line is, and this is another argument, is how can you be de-radicalizing individuals who have committed atrocity, and yet people are still in IDP camp, not even sometimes not getting their 3 square meal. Now, I know somebody will say, "Oh, liar, they give them food." I'm telling you, I was in the IDP camp, I think the biggest one in Borno, and I went with a good friend of mine, Femi Aratokun Ali, who is a close protection specialist. And we went there and Hawa, there's a lady who was a member of African Security Forum. She's from Borno State, and she made all the arrangements. And we went there. She was on ground. We went there. She went from the UK. She was on ground. We went there, and we met with a lot of people in the IDP camp. We had discussion with at least minimum about 5,000 people. Because what we did was I wanted to be able to get enough data to understand what is happening. To understand what is happening. We spoke to kids. My friend even carried newborn baby that's Femi, Mr. Femi Aratokun, carried newborn baby that was that they just gave birth to in the camp. And we met with the elders who were complaining about the food issue, how they were feeding them, and there are things that they were not happy about, not being able to get past. I saw people being flogged who were standing by the gate begging to go out. I met with an old man who said he has kids in Borno town and is being held against his will in the camp. So some people are actually using the camp as an opportunity to just hold people down to be able to maintain that corruption that we know. And we know from information in the public space that a lot of the food that were meant for the IDP camps were actually diverted by individuals. So it's not a new thing. And we found children in the camp that have been there for 2-3 years, that were born there, growing up, they've never known anything outside, they've never seen a TV. In fact, it was my joy. Part of the things I was even really planning was that if we can go back there and take Nollywood to even show maybe one of these Awusas movie, show it at night. Because when I was growing up, we used to have situation where you have people come and just put a tent or put camera up and actually beam films for us to watch. And they did it in the south, they did it in the north. So I was thinking of something like that that could be done, or even taking even taking people from footballers there to go and play football with those kids to tell them that there's another life and there's something they could do. Those kind of motivative things that could be done. So yeah, so that was something, that was what I saw. So I was there, I saw it live. I saw how the IDP camps are. So and it's impossible for you to go into the IDP camps and support Operation Safe Corridor. It will be impossible. I'm telling you now because I've been there and I see how people suffer. So when you see ordinary Nigerians, fellow Nigerians that have lost their home, lost their loved ones, are held in camp, and yet some people are now being trained on how to get chicken. Why is it that they are not giving that same of? You see, it doesn't cost much to have that kind of poultry within an IDP camp and train them on poultry within IDP camp. Train them on how to make shoes, and I'm not saying they're not doing that for in some places, but there are so many IDP camps, they don't do all those things there. And when these people manage to see TV or watch TV and see these people being trained, they get angry. But see, let's not be too emotional on this matter because we also need to understand where the military and Nigerian government is coming from. So I'm the type that I am not into bashing government where government have made an error or made some mistake. I'll tell them they made mistakes. But again, what else can government do? I think yes, there is a de-radicalization project, but that de-radicalization project should not be directed at those individuals. There should be when individuals come in and surrender, you should assess them and determine their level of involvement in Boko Haram. If they've been involved in killing people and you have enough evidence to that effect, then those individuals should be prosecuted. And I had at one point, recently, a general saying that the coordinator of the Operation Safe Corridor was actually saying that 500 individuals were actually have been convicted through Nigerian court. But that information is not information uh, that is out there in the public domain. I just heard that the volume is low, so I'll just check again to see why the volume is low. Please check your system. I think it's okay. It should not be low actually. So yeah. So like I was saying, so you know, the Operation Safe Corridor is not actually fit for purpose. And the reason why it's not fit for purpose is not because the concept itself is not right, it's because of the structure that have been put in place. Because what should normally happen is that individuals should more or less have been arrested. When they've been arrested, convicted, and about to go get out of, when they are about to get out of uh, the prison, that is when they should be getting de-radicalization training. Or alternatively, if there are individuals in the community who are becoming vulnerable to Boko Haram activities, that is when proactively they are engaged. However, saying that, I also have serious problem with the Operation Safe Corridor because it's the military that arrests or find these individuals, is the military that is conducting the training, and is the military that will clear them. In the first place, the military should not have been involved in this war. It should be the job of the police. Simple. It should be the job of the police and not the job of the military to do this, to do the work, to do internal security. But we are where we are, and the military is involved. And as you know, there is even maybe 0.8 uh, military to 1,000 civilians. So, and that's 100,000 civilians. And that more or less explain why they are so thin on the ground. Now, The military, from experiences I've seen around the world, including Saudi Arabia and the others, what normally happens is that the government authority, which now should be the Office of the National Security Advisor, the same individuals, the same government agencies that owns the counterterrorism strategy, they should be the one detecting the context of the de-radicalization project, but they are not. So the National Security Advisor Office is not responsible for it. From my understanding, is the Ministry of Defense. From what we are seeing now, the military should be involved, the police should be involved, civil defense should be involved, community should be involved, but it should not be squarely a military affair. It should not be. Not from what I understand the de-radicalization project to be. So when you look at the UK, for example, they have a system where it's decentralized. You know, we have local authorities responsible for individuals in their area and dealing with it. And then de-radicalization um, organizations we bid for projects from the community, local government now, because local government, they will, they will, they'll go for project. They could even go for central government project too, and then they will be giving money to actually carry out those activities. Now, when those individuals are de-radicalized within the community, it is easier for them to be accepted in the community. And that is where the Nigerian government and the structure of Nigeria is getting it wrong. Because these guys come to you from nowhere, you take them on board, not even knowing what atrocity they've committed in their hometown or their city or their local government. You take them to Gombe somewhere, and then you say you spend 11 months with them, giving them training, and then suddenly you now say, here are your children, take them back. Who is going to take them back? They will not. Nobody will take them back, because the bottom line is these individuals, this is the first time they are engaging with these individuals. There is no plan to even take them back into the why they are why they are there for that 11 months. What project do you have in place to ensure that you start gradually getting them involved in the community? So if you start getting them involved in the community and getting them, so for example, you could organize a reconciliation for people that have been affected by Boko Haram, and get these individuals to tell them about their life there and apologize. Because sometimes just the word sorry is enough. Some people will be happy with that. But these individuals have never said sorry to anybody. They've never gone to the home of the people that they got involved with. In fact, when I was in the home office, they had this new structure, a system they introduced, where victims met with the offenders, and the offenders will actually speak to them. They could talk to them, you know, and that is a kind of a rehabilitation, and that really works, because the word sorry can go a long way. All of a sudden, I don't have food, my house has been destroyed, and then you bring a guy that is now looking fat, his skin is now glowing, and you say, oh, he's being de-radicalized, he's coming into the community. There is no way they will be willing to accept them. And sometimes those individuals need to be uh, put in a different location, taken to a different location entirely. Because as we speak, we do not have success story from Nigeria De-radicalisation Project. As I speak to you now, you could go on your computer and just search for the context strategy or prevent work statistics, and all the statistics of how many people came into the presence of the channels, how many of them were de-radicalized. All those information are there in the public domain, except when the Nigerian military want us to know that they want the cheap publicity of media to be there. That is where you know that they are doing anything. But you see, it should not be like that. And that's the reason why they complain that international NGOs are, saying things about them in a negative way. They are not appreciating them. And of course, I won't, if I was in the shoe of the military, I would feel certainly like that, because if I think I'm working really hard and nobody is recognizing what I'm doing, then I will be offended. But where is the KPI? What is the statistics that is being used for the Operation Safe Corridor? And how is it being used? That is the problem, the challenge that we have, because we are not really doing things the way other people are doing it. Because if we're doing it the way other people are doing it, then we will get a different result. If, for example, by January 2021, the Nigerian army, as they are listening to me now, some of them are listening to me now, if they pick up, if they pick up pick their civilian military relations department, and they prepare a document of about 200 pages, and they write about success story. They can blank the face of the people, talk about what they are doing now, how they are making money, how they are helping people, how they have built a new family, and how they are helping. Then, of course, people will be happy. I the last video live that I did on the Kasina issue, I talked about the fact that Nigerian government need to be proactive, pick the family, pick the kids, move them into a different place. The president should speak to them. What's happening now? The whole issue is blowing out of proportion because some of the recommendations I made were not taken on board. Now, I said that if nothing was done as quickly as possible, that the investigative journalists will get to those people before the government get to them. Did they not? Yes, they did. And then the individuals were not giving out those sensitive information in the public domain to say, oh, this is what is happening. So Shikawe is coming out now with his one leg. He's coming out to say that he has X number of people, 500 plus. Government of Borno is saying is 333. The boy is saying there's only 10 left with the group. So who is saying what? Have they sold those kids out like they did before? And those kids are not girls. So as a result, because they are boys now, are they going to join the rank of Boko Haram members? Can you imagine the havoc that will cause? And if you've seen that fascinating video of that young boy, about 10 years old, who was, doing some demonstration. Of course, I have to highlight now that I totally disagree with that recording. I could see it was done by some military personnel, and I know that their information, the information of the group that actually did this is in the public domain. But I would say that the military really need to be very, very careful about this kind of thing. We are trying to promote that Nigerian military is a good Nigerian military is a good uh, military organization that respects human rights, and yet whoever is recording that boy is carrying a gun, and then they are telling the boy to explain what he's doing. The boy, under coercion, under duress, is not giving that information. If the boy was with his lawyer when he released all those information, or gave those information, then it's perfectly okay. And they record it and they want it to be made public. That boy now could have a bounty on his head by Boko Haram for what he has said. Is Nigerian military going to protect him after that? No way. Are they going to relocate him to a family down in southern Nigeria or in southeast for him to live with them and maybe find a trade and de-radicalize him? For a boy that have seen blood, what will happen to him? See, these are the kind of challenges, because they are not supposed to do that kind of recording. They're not even supposed to allow that kind of, even if they did that recording, it should be for their own intelligence. They should have investigated that discussion, looked at it, how are information being fed back into Nigerian military, Nigerian intelligence, to be able to find where Boko Haram is. It took a 10-year-old boy now going live on a recording done by some military personnel to say that Shekau's leg has been amputated or is injured. Not Nigerian Navy intelligence, Nigerian Army intelligence, Nigerian police intelligence have done anything. And all those intelligent people they are talking about, how many of them have infiltrated the bandits in Katsina, in Mina, in Kaduna, or in the northeast, or north central, or northwest, in Sokoto and those places. So why are we paying huge sum of money, allocating huge sum of money to this intelligence when they are not actually doing anything? Because I can't see what they are doing. I don't know if you can see it. I can't see what they are doing. I don't know what they are doing. We've never heard of anything that they're doing apart from customs coming out to say that Boko Haram is in certain forest close to Abuja, and then the military counter it to say, "Oh no, Abuja is free, Abuja is safe," and all those things. Why are they not sharing information? That, of course, should be information that should have been fed into the National Security Advisor's office, and who could have dealt with it. And just like I said, the de-radicalization project should actually have sit under the National Security Advisor's office, who gives that project out to individuals that have the capability to actually carry out that activities. They might even be foreign organizations in conjunction with some Nigerians who will come in and do that job, and they will not provide the statistics. When I was doing this job, I was doing the job as an intervention prevent manager. I go into those locations, I go into those organizations, and I go and monitor and evaluate what they do. I sit into their discussions, listen to what they are doing, go through the curriculum they are using, make sure that it's fit for purpose. So you're talking about things like citizenship, talk about patriotism to Nigeria, to Britain, and all those kind of things, you know, and all those things. There are a variety of issues that they should be taught, not just religion alone, not just teaching them how to cook and how to feed birds, when they should be talked about how to be patriotic, so that most of them, in fact, when they leave, they will even wake up very early in the morning to sweep the major road, because they are so patriotic about Nigeria being one nation, under God. But that is not what we are seeing. What we are seeing videos saying that people have been de-radicalized, but we don't hear anything about them again. We don't know what is happening. We don't even know how much the budget is for this de-radicalization project. Nobody knows the budget apart from what they tell us. We can't verify it because they tag it as secret. Go to the UK website, go to the Australian website, go to the Canadian website, go to the American website. The amount for their de-radicalization project are out there in the public, but not in the case of Nigeria, of course. Their information is hidden, is not in the public domain for us to be able to scrutinize. Because if those information are out there in the public domain, then people like me will just shut up and say, "Oh, they are doing a good job." And in fact, I might even come and do a kind of a review and say, "This is what we are doing on de-radicalization in Nigeria." But that is not the case. In Nigeria, we don't know what they are doing. We only know that they go in there, they talk to them. After 11 months, they say they release them, and they say they are good. The military are the judge, the jury, and the prosecutor in their own case. In fact, they are even the jury. They are the jury there, they are the judge, they are the prosecutor, they are the everything. They are the everything. So, and this is not right, because you see that balance, that independence is important. Do you know how many times the UK counterterrorism project have been reviewed? At least more than 2 times now, or 2 times. Nigerian De-radicalisation project has never been reviewed. They've never put together an independent body to review what they are doing and give it a pass mark. Because if an outsider is able to look at Nigerian De-radicalisation project and give it a pass mark, then people like me will not say anything. I'll just keep quiet and say, "I think they're doing a good job." But that is not the case. That is not what we have. And that is the problem. You know, that is why a lot of us are concerned about Nigerian De-radicalization Project. Now, I'm familiar with the UK De-radicalization Project, so I can tell you about that. And I can explain to you that it goes down to local level, where they get people within the local area that who have the skills to deal with these individuals, you know, and they make sure that those individuals are more or less spoken to, addressed, and assisted. You know, that is not the case in Nigeria. We don't even know what they are doing. So there are so many things. There's one report that says that the Nigerian De-radicalization Project, they give, after training them and after all the things they've done, they give them a 20,000 startup money. Why are we not giving people 20,000 startup money now in those localities where they are now? Believe you me, if the government goes into an overdrive and starts supporting every family household in that area with 20,000 money for them to start a business or for them to do business, believe you me, they will kick out Boko Haram. But Boko Haram, as we know, actually went out to even give money, loan money to people. And most of the people that have been caught by the military are people that are actually benefiting from Boko Haram economic activities, who are taking petrol to where they are in the forest, taking phones, buying phones, SIM cards, and all those things for them. And yet they've spoken time and time again that Nigerians should restructure the telecommunication issues with regard to SIM card management. And yet they have the rules, but they've never implemented it. You know, what is Israel doing differently on fighting terrorism that we could learn from? What is Morocco doing differently? Because Morocco has a very good de-radicalization project. What are they doing differently? I'll tell you, I was very disappointed. Because when I was in the Office for Security and Counterterrorism, I can name at least 4 or 5 countries that came into the UK, that sent delegates into the UK to learn about the de-radicalization project. They came in to learn about the de-radicalization project. I took them to our de-radicalization project site, and they met with the providers, who then explained the whole process, through a PowerPoint and everything, how it should be done. And I'm talking of countries within Africa. Yes, yes. I won't mention names of countries for Official Secret Act. You know, they came in. Throughout when I was in that department, Nigerian government did not come in. Nobody came in from Nigerian government. In fact, what they did was to, what Nigerian did was to more or less uh, bring somebody that wrote a children book and put her in place of to to head the de-radicalization project, and then she just started flying around the world and bringing theories and practicals together. And that's the problem. Because what you need, and what Nigerian government have always failed to do, is to use the resources that they have. There are more than 10, 15 Nigerians around the world involved in the radicalization project at a high level in other countries with success rates. Why is it that it's the military that have to de-radicalize? Why is it that it's the military that have to look for the Chibok girls? Why is it that it's the military that have to look for the Gapchi girl? Why is it that it's the military that have to look for the Katsina boys? Why can't the police do it? Give them the equipment and skills that they require for them to do the work. I mentioned the McCain family, where the family went to Spain and lost their daughter during the time when they were staying there. Up to today, there is a specific budget within Metropolitan Police for detectives that are still looking for for that girl, and digging places up in Germany and other countries. I've never heard of Nigerian police or Nigerian army going into Chad to go and look for the girls, or going into Niger to go and look for the girls, or going to Cameroon to look for the girls. Because we know that the kids were scattered. The girls were scattered. I know some of them have married and given birth, and they will not even want to leave. But you see, honesty is very important in the war on terror. So if Nigerian government comes out today to say, yes, about 10, 15 girls have been contacted, they said they are happy, they want to stay where they are. So you leave them where they are, they should have access to their parents and be able to talk to their parents. And then at least that number is reduced gradually. But you never said anything. Nobody is discussing it. Nobody is talking about Lai Shaib. Nobody is talking about it. And this story too. You know, I said, I said online on Twitter. I said the Katsina government, Katsina state government, knows the people he negotiated with when they were talking about banditry, and he knows where to find them. So I wasn't surprised when he went to meet with the president and said, "Oh, they are already in negotiation." Before Chicago came out with his video to say they have some of the kits. So we have to be very, very careful because these guys will sell those kits to the highest bidder because it's all about money for them. And except Boko Haram is involved, if Boko Haram is not involved, then those kits are going to be uh, used as a tool for negotiation for release of some of the the Boko Haram prisoners. Some of them might be used to get money back, and some of them might actually be used for fighting the war on terror. So the question now is, what do we do now, and what should be done to address this issue? There's a lot of things that we need to do. The first thing is that the de-radicalization project need to be within a central government uh, preview and not in the Ministry of Defense. That's my opinion. I feel the military should have their hands off it. The military can bring individuals into it and they can be involved in it, but it should not be the Ministry of Defense handling this project. No, it should not be. And then the military should not be the one doing it. Yes, I've had people come up with arguments like, yes, they have an imam there that is de-radicalizing them. They have a pastor there that talks to them, so for the ones that are Christians. But the bottom line is that the radicalization project goes beyond that. There are people that have psychological problems. And what you need is, you see, for me, personally, I don't see the reason why Nigerian Association of Counselors cannot even put forward a project for them to handle the de-radicalization project. In fact, they are even in a better position to even do it. I can't see why an individual cannot say, one of my, like some of my brothers out there, like David Otto, who is doing a step in, step out, there's nothing wrong in them coming out and say, okay, this is the expertise I'm bringing from, from my university days and working, at least having an understanding of this subject matter or setting it up in the UK. I think I can do something. He provides his program. The government looks at it and says, okay, we'll give you X amount of money for X number of people. And then you push those people to him. And then he does the de-radicalization project, organize it, make sure that those people are de-radicalized, and then provide the evidence that they are de-radicalized, and then they are released back into the community where they add value. That's what should be happening, not the military being the one, the alpha and omega of the project. It's not going to work. And that's why the project is not fit for purpose as we speak, because it needs to change. I am of the view that we need to really revisit our de-radicalization project. And one of the things that should be done is that an independent chief justice with 2 or 3 other retired military officers and private security consultants, maybe 5 or 6 people, should be put together, to review Operation Safe Corridor, to review it, and when they've reviewed it, to provide recommendation to Mr. President on it moving forward. But this idea that whatever the military is doing, a bloody civilian cannot review it, address it, it's not gonna wash. And that's why things are not moving or working for Nigeria, because everybody else everybody else is providing evidence of what they are doing in the de-radicalization project, I stand to be corrected. I have not seen a Nigerian publication, a Nigerian army publication on the radicalization project. And I'm challenging them to do that before the end of the year. They have the statistics. If they do, you know, I don't see why, you know, they should not be doing such, you know, doing such, because this is the situation where we are now, where we need, you know, things to be done properly in order to save people the agony that they are going through right now. And we need, as a matter of urgency, deal with people in the IDP camp. It is impossible for us to have IDP camps still running at full capacity. You know, people that have lost their home, lost their belonging, lost their self-worth, and yet some people are being paraded as being de-radicalized. It's not going to work. They're not going to be accepted back into the community, and that is the gospel truth. But if the community owns the de-radicalization project, if the community are involved in the de-radicalization project, then what you will find out is that the community will be uh, more ready to accept those individuals back, because they are involved in their journey to de-radicalization. Because when you deconstruct an individual, you are deconstructing them based on the drivers for their radicalization. Once you have identified the drivers for their radicalization and you've addressed it, and the community is taken along in the process, then it is easier for the community to be receptive to them coming back. But if they are not, they will not be receptive to it. And that is the gospel truth. And that is why we are where we are today, because we have a situation where individuals are being de-radicalized, but there is no evidence, no sufficient evidence to show that these individuals are actually being effectively managed. No, nothing. They said they've released, if indeed you've released 300, 400 since you've been doing this job, you know, and they've been talking about Operation Safe Corridor since 2005. In fact, it is important for me to highlight that myself and my good friend, Femi Aratokun, met with all the commanders, you know, of the civilian JTF to talk about this issue of the radicalization and what is happening. And they made it very, 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 very clear. They made it very, very clear that they did not want the de-radicalization project. They didn't want the Operation Safe Corridor. They didn't want it. Can I use this opportunity to say to people that are watching me, please like this video if you are watching it. Please share it with your friends and invite people. You could even start a watch party. I'm going to be doing another video um, live recording on Thursday, and then the next one will be on Saturday. So this is going to be a continuous recording that will be taking place. So one is going to happen on Thursday, 8 p.m. and next one will be on Saturday, 8 p.m. So please share it, please like it, please tell other people about it, because it's important. Even if you are not really concerned about the de-radicalization project, it is your taxpayers' money that is being spent on it. And not only that, there are individuals that are victims of Boko Haram who have not yet been resettled, and addressed, and yet we are having a de-radicalization project. I am in favor of the de-radicalization project, because I feel it's something that needs to be done, and it should be done properly. But the problem I have with it is the structure. I don't think the military should be the one picking up the individuals, de-radicalizing them and releasing them, or certifying them as being fit for purpose. Where are the psychologists involved? Where is that in discussion, the use of lie detector to find out if these individuals are lying, that they've actually been properly, they've actually been de-radicalized? Are we taking them through that process? Are we so afraid of taking them through that process because it will show that they've not actually been de-radicalized? What is the problem? I know the community, the leaders, some of our leaders might welcome it, and of course I will welcome it because I think it's a good project. The radicalization project is a good project, but the de-radicalization project that we are running in Nigeria is completely something else. Completely something else, and I think that we need to revisit it again. You know, is this the way it should be? Is this what should happen? You know, should um, should these individuals who have been involved, you know, should individuals who individuals who have who have who have confirmed who have confirmed that they were involved in confirmed that they are confirmed that they are involved in terrorism, you know, be de-radicalized without going to prison. Should that happen? That's the question. Just think about that for 1 minute. You know, that should individuals who have confirmed, you know, confirmed involved, being involved in terrorism, you know, being involved in terrorism, be de-radicalized, you know, be de-radicalized without prison sentence. You know, that's the question that we need to ask ourselves. You know, and I know a lot of people will say no, it should not be. That should not be the case. You know, individuals who have been involved in who have been involved in this kind of thing should not, you know, just get away with it scot free like that. It should not happen. You know, it should not happen. I think that individuals who have been involved in such a thing should not actually be allowed to just go away free of charge like that. They should normally face the wrath of the law, and after facing the wrath of the law, they should then um, they should actually face the wrath of the law. And after they face the wrath of the law, then they can now be de-radicalized. But without that, this particular project is doomed to fail because the approach and structure that we are using is not the right approach that we should use. So I don't believe in discussing a project without coming up with solutions. So I want to use the next 3-4 minutes to talk about solutions and what should happen. I think, and this is my opinion, that the Operation Safe Corridor should be revamped. I think that it should be given to a civilian to handle, a civilian authority to handle. I think the military should be involved in the project, but not own the project exclusively. In fact, I would rather prefer that is the National Security Advisor's Office that brings in the appropriate consultant to look at the structure. I think a judge, a retired judge, and some individuals should be um, put together to to review the Operation Safe Corridor project and determine whether money given to them have been spent properly, whether the de-radicalization work project is working, whether the individuals that have been de-radicalized have actually, whether there's a success rate on it. Because they're just telling us that they are de-radicalizing. But we don't know if any of those individuals have gone back because only the military know who they are. Only the military knows their name. Only the military know where they release them to. So how can we then measure such a project? It is impossible to measure a project where they are the ones that are providing it and they are the ones determining its success rate. It's not going to work. And that's the reason why, you know, I'll be advocating and calling on others to advocate for the review of the Operation Safe Corridor to be done by a professional, people outside like a presidential task force. Let them look at it and see whether it's fit for purpose and how it could be improved. It's been done in the UK, it's been done in America. Why is it that it's only us that don't do that? The other project is, the other thing I think should be done is that I think the military should prepare a booklet about the activities in Operation Safe Corridor. They should provide statistics and make it available to Nigerians, not just to selective journalists that are their friends. No, it should be information that should be consumed by all Nigerians. It should be information that should be available on the military website or on the Operation Safe Corridor website. Does Operation Safe Corridor have a website? That's another question. Because on most occasions, individuals should be able to find how to be able to engage with government. This individual, there was a video I watched where the guy said they came out of the bush and gave themselves up. And of course, they gave themselves up because maybe they are even having problem with the group and they just felt they should leave. Because why didn't they give themselves up in the first day or after the first fight or the second fight or the third fight? How many people are they killed? See, those are the kind of challenges and issues that we're dealing with. So except we do these things that I've highlighted, then we're definitely going to be having problem. And the Nigerian Operation Safe Corridor will not be fit for purpose. We want it to excel. We want it to succeed. Everybody wants that project to succeed, but not in the manner in which it's done. The structure is wrong, the approach is wrong, and what they are doing about it is wrong, as mentioned earlier. Thank you so much for watching this, and I, I'll be very grateful to you if you could like this, and I'll be loading it on YouTube in the next few minutes. Please go to my YouTube page, Temitope Olodo, and please subscribe, share this video, because you don't know who you will share it with that will actually benefit from it. Even some of our generals who might get hold of it might be able to start putting in place some of the you know things that they need to put in place. They should get psychology, the as Nigerian Association of Psychologists, they should get them involved. Nigeria Association of Counselors, people that are involved in counseling, they should get them involved. You know, the medical people should be get involved. Mental health, you know, there are psychiatrists that could be involved. Get them involved. Because some of these individuals, you can't kill a human being if you are in your right senses. So we need to start looking at that. They need to provide more information and data about the Operation Safe Corridor. But more importantly, there is need for a review of the whole project and for it to be taken away from the military and actually given, you know, and allowed to organically grow with community involvement. Because with the community involvement, community will buy into it and then it will work. Thank you so much for listening, and I really, really appreciate your time. I look forward to you joining me again on Thursday when I will be talking about another subject which I will be promoting from tomorrow. So call your friends, call your family, even call your people that you hate and tell them Temitope Olodo is talking about security. God bless you.